Right now, life has us keeping our distance, but there's never been a more important time to come together. Scouting looks a little different than what we're used to, sure, but across the country, Scouts are coming together to learn, grow, and serve even while apart, because that's what Scouting has always been about. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Our culture is one of perseverance and determination. Our foundation is that of always being prepared. When you think about it, we've been preparing for times like these for over 100 years. Because for the past century, we've been pioneers, adventurers, helpers, scouts. Nothing can stop us. We've got this. We are Scouts.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the November 2020 Pathfinder District Virtual Roundtable. My name is Matthew Kennedy, and I am honored to be Pathfinder District's Virtual Roundtable Commissioner. The job of Roundtable Commissioner for our normal meetings is still available if you're interested. However, we are meeting virtually for tonight and for the foreseeable future, and so we welcome everyone to our roundtable this evening. In addition to our normal group here from Pathfinder District, we do have some special guests joining us this month as well. I would like to welcome the Wabash Valley District. Units and Scouters from Wabash Valley will be joining Pathfinder this evening as part of our roundtable. So we should have a much larger group than even normally we have been having for our roundtables over the past several months. And we welcome everybody from Wabash Valley who's joining us this evening. Tonight, we're going to start things off a little bit differently than we have been. Traditionally for roundtables, when we start off our meetings, we do start with the traditional opening ceremonies for any Scout meeting, which would be the Pledge of Allegiance, the Scout Oath, and the Scout Law. And I think as we continue to get our units up and running, and especially at this time of year when we are doing things nationwide that are having an impact on our future, I think it is important to come together with those values once again. And we're going to kick it off with a presentation of the pledge, the oath, and the law. So if you will prepare accordingly, we've got some Scouts who are going to get that taken care of for us. So Scouts, please take it away.
Those in uniform, please salute. Those who are not, put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent.
Thank you very much, Scouts and Scouters. You may all be seated if you're standing at home. For tonight, we do have a jam-packed agenda, a lot of information that we're going to go over, so we're not going to waste too much time. We're going to jump right to it. But as you may have noticed, depending on where you're watching, we are a live stream. This is a live video chat, and we're coming to you on Facebook, on YouTube, as well as on Periscope. So wherever you may be joining us live, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you. If you're watching this as a recording, because we will have this available for people to watch in the days and weeks to come if they were unable to attend tonight, thank you for joining us as well. We appreciate you taking the time to catch up on the information we're presenting. You may have noticed in the chat below my video box right now, some people kind of typing in their name and their unit, where they're from, what unit they're joining us from. Please do so if you haven't already. Please give us your name, your unit that you're representing, or units if you're with multiple. And tonight, as a little bit of an added bonus, if you're with Wabash Valley, please note your district as well, just so we can give everybody credit for attending Roundtable. This is virtual, but it still counts, and we will be logging all of this in for attendance after the fact. So please take a moment and mention in the chat your name, your unit, where you're joining us from, and we'll be able to get attendance taken from there. So for Roundtable tonight, we're going to start off with some information from Pathfinder District's Vice Chair in charge of program. Jared Kavanaugh could not be with us tonight, but he did give me some notes of some things that he would like to make sure that we covered this evening. For those of you who are in Wabash Valley, still pay attention. Even though this is Pathfinder District specific information in some regards, there are going to be a couple of things that do pertain to you as well, because they are affecting everybody, not just in our district, but council-wide and in one case, nationwide. So without further ado, just a couple of reminders from Jared. First of all, Eagle project reviews and Eagle boards of review here in Pathfinder District are going to remain virtual for the foreseeable future, at least through the end of 2020, possibly beyond. We're still kind of waiting to see how things are going to play out in the weeks and months to come. But right now, if you have an Eagle Scout who is or a Life Scout, I'm sorry, who is at the point on the journey to Eagle where they need to have their project reviewed and approved so that they can go ahead and start working on it, they need to send an email to the 2 email addresses that I have listed right over here on the screen. The Heaths at prodigy.net in order to contact Mr. Steve Heath, and then the Langs _000 at yahoo.com. Please send all attachments in separate files. Use individual attachments for PDFs or Word documents, whatever the case may be, but you need to send those to those 2 people in order to get the approval that you need to be able to move forward. Those reviews will be handled by these 2 scouters. If you are done with your project and then need to look at a board of review, you need to send an email again to Mr. Tony Lang, so the Langs _000 at yahoo.com. You also need to send an email to the council's Eagle processing team. That's 160 Eagle at crossroadsbsa.org. Again, send all files as individual attachments. And I know with an Eagle application and with all the books and everything else, that can be a lot of material. If it's too large, I recommend file sharing services, whether it be Dropbox or Google Drive, anything like that, where you can send a link and just have people download from there. But do make sure that you're sending all of the files that are necessary so that you can get those Eagle boards or reviews scheduled. They will be done virtually, so please plan accordingly. In both of these cases, normally we would be doing them in person. Do not go to Perry Meridian Middle School to do these in person. We will not be there. They need to be handled virtually per these emails. Finally, if you have a scout, a Life Scout, who's approaching the age of 18, who, because of COVID and because of the pandemic, is simply unable to complete their Eagle project at this time, or for whatever reason they may need Eagle rank extension, please make sure that they are emailing Jared Kavanaugh directly. His email address is on the screen, jaredkavanaugh@gmail.com, and the Scouts unit leader. Ultimately, those are the 2 people where that process will begin, and Jared will walk you through all of the steps that you need in order to get that approval, or the extension approved and taken care of. So don't wait. Obviously, the pandemic is causing some issues for some people, but we want to make sure that everything is taken care of and people are still able to move forward. So that's some stuff that we've talked about in the past, but now there are a few other bits of information and things that you may need to know. First of all, and this is one that's going to impact not only Pathfinder District but Wabash Valley. The details will just be slightly different. Jared Kavanaugh will be reaching out to all units over the next several weeks, essentially end of November, early December, somewhere in that range. And he's going to be reaching out to get your camping and outing numbers, essentially your outdoor activity report for your unit. This applies to all units, packs included. We often just think of this as a troop or crew or ship activity. In this case, it includes packs as well. We want to get the number of times that your unit went out for outdoor outings or campouts in the past year. Now, that may sound a bit unusual given that we've spent most of this year in a pandemic type situation, but the most important line is the last one. For purposes of this reporting, virtual outings and campouts do count. So if you participated in any of the national campout nights or any of the virtual activities that our council did, if your unit did a virtual campout, please make sure that you're including that in your reporting to Jared so that we can get accurate outdoor activity numbers for all of our units and get those submitted. Wabash Valley, you're going to have the same process that you'll be going through as well, I'm sure. Jordan Sanho, I'm sure, can give you all that information as how it's going to be proceeding specifically, but make sure you're getting that information ready to go, someone from the district will be reaching out to you as well. The second very important item, and it has to do with one topic that we're doing tonight, which is recharter, but any leader in our district, and I'm sure in Wabash Valley District as well, any leader that has a YPT that is expired or has never been completed in the first place, which shouldn't have happened, but stranger things have occurred, they will be receiving an email in the very near future if they have not already. And that'll be coming from Jennifer Taylor. YPT needs to be caught up as soon as possible. Ultimately, we need to have our district and all districts, the entire council, at 100% as quickly as we can get there. So if your unit has anyone who has not completed YPT and will be rechartering, please make sure that you get all of that information updated and that you get those trainings caught up, because it is vital that we do so. Another important point, Jared Kavanaugh will be reaching out to all leaders, registered leaders, that have not completed their position-specific training. As of now, I actually already received one for my brand new Virtual Roundtable Commissioner position, because I haven't quite finished the training on that one yet. But, case in point, if you have not completed position-specific training, get that completed as soon as possible. Our goal as a district and as a council is to be 100% in both of these areas, not just YPT. I'm sure the same is true for Wabash Valley. So make sure that you're getting all of your trainings caught up. If you have questions, please let Jared Kavanaugh know, or whoever is in charge of training out in Wabash Valley. Also along the lines of training, November 14th and 15th, which is not this weekend, but the following weekend, we would traditionally be doing the University of Scouting. That event has been canceled for 2020. It was announced some time ago. What our council is doing instead is called the Crossroads of America Training Academy. Ultimately, it's going to be a weekend where all Scout leaders can commit to ensuring that they have all of their required training caught up, but more importantly, explore new training options and get more information that they can continue to share with their units, with their Scouts, and provide Scouts with the strongest trained leader that they can have. Training is important. Every Scout deserves a trained leader. That statement is always true and will continue to be. There were Blue and IOLS classes, the Outdoor Leadership Skills class required for Scoutmasters and Assistant Scoutmasters, crew advisors, skippers, etc. Those classes are now full. Continue to check back, because you never know, space may open up. However, at this time, those classes are full. The reason that we mention that, though, some people will ask the question, what do I do then if I do not have IOLS, if I do not have Blue training, and I have to have it in order to be able to recharter? There was an announcement by the BSA that requirement, essentially the IOLS and Blue requirement, is going to be provided with a 1-year extension. If you do not have it completed, you can recharter for 2021 this one time. It still has to be done to recharter in the future, assuming that the pandemic has passed by that point, but we do want to make sure that all of our Scoutmasters and Assistant Scoutmasters are able to recharter, and because of the pandemic, we understand that training has been difficult to attain, and so there is a one-time exemption this year, and it'll be carried over into 2021. So if that's the only thing holding you up, then you can recharter, nothing to worry about. If everything else is completed, you do have to have the rest of your position-specific training done in order to recharter. And that is true at the pack, troop, crew, and ship level across the board. So please make sure you're getting that taken care of. One final announcement from Jared Kavanaugh, and this one is kind of a biggie. I'm going to preface this by saying up front, the phrase that I'm about to put up on the screen, this block of text, is all of the information that I have at this time. I know that there's going to be some questions. Bear with me. Requirements for the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Merit Badge have been developed by a national committee of BSA volunteers and staff. The Merit Badge will be available to earn beginning January 1st, 2021. It will become an Eagle Required Merit Badge as of May 1st, 2021. End quote. There was an announcement earlier this year, back in June, July, that BSA National was looking at doing a modification having a new merit badge covering these topics, specifically diversity, equity, and inclusion, and that it was likely going to be an Eagle required merit badge. This is the updated information that we have now, so we do have a timeline. We have not seen, myself or Jared, we have not seen the requirements as yet. We have not seen a few of the questions that immediately come up as yet, as far as for our Life Scouts, depending on when they became Life and when they finish Eagle, when does this change affect which merit badges they have to earn? I would go under the assumption that they will have to earn it effective May 1st, but at this time we have no other information than this statement. This is really just our way of giving you a heads up that this is coming down the pike. The timeline is what you see. January 1st pretty much is an elective. May 1st it will become an Eagle required merit badge. So make sure that you're letting Scouts know that now so that they can pivot and make adjustments if necessary once more information becomes available. If you have any questions on that, contact Jared Kavanaugh directly. I called him myself earlier this evening just to kind of say if there was anything else that I could add to that, but really that's all the information that we do have at this time. So that's the report from our Vice Chair of Program. We look forward to having Jared join us back again here sometime in the near future. Something new that we're doing for this roundtable as well. Previously, we've just had our own presenters kind of talking through everything, and we haven't had the opportunity to do what we would call traditional breakouts for our roundtables. We're going to fix that starting this month. We do have some videos that the Boy Scouts of America National Office has put together for roundtable breakouts, and we're going to have two tonight. The first one now will be our Cub Scout breakout. It's going to cover the topic of how to keep Scouts involved and ultimately how to keep families in your packs. We will be doing a Scouts BSA breakout after our first main section that we'll be covering here in just a moment, with Tucker and Jordan specifically covering the recharter topic. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and start our Cub Scout breakout for Roundtable this month. And BSA, take it away.
I cannot imagine a greater challenge we have facing us in Cub Scouting than the current pandemic. It has made things extremely challenging. However, we are Scouts. We take on challenges because we know our Scouts are watching us. We don't quit because this is the last thing that we want to tell our Scouts to do. We work together, we use our resources, and we keep the values of the Scout Oath and Law at the forefront of our actions. We are Scouts, and together, we not only will get through these challenges, we will do so with a smile on our face and our heads lifted high. So, are you with me? Great, then welcome to Roundtable. You know, the number one question leaders are asking us is what is working? The truth is that there are several things that are working and very few things that are not. Our topic today is keeping your Cub Scouts, and the single most important thing to keeping your Cub Scouts is simply to stay active. I know, nothing is simple in today's world. That is why we're going to walk you through this together. Not just you and I, but your fellow Cub Scout leaders. Now, the second most common question we get is, can we start meeting? And the answer to that is, well, it depends. We know that many units are waiting for the green light to start meeting again. And the reason why you haven't seen that national green light is because we can't give one for everyone. There are still several states and local municipalities that are not allowing even small gatherings. We will review simple steps you can take to either get your pack back up and running, or these steps can be used to keep things running smoothly. They may be a pack that is participating in your local roundtable that can share their successes, and we expect that they can also provide some inspiration as to what is working locally. Before we begin, I want to call your attention to using this safety checklist. You can pause this video and use the QR reader to access this checklist. The acronym SAFE, SAFE, stands for Supervision, Assessment, Fitness Skill, and Equipment Environment. Recently, we asked parents and leaders to share their thoughts and feelings about the current pandemic. Here are key points from that survey I'd like to share with you. When we asked leaders of units who are not currently meeting why they were not meeting, the number one reason was a lack of a meeting location. 49.5% said they have no place to meet. The first step you must take is to check with your state and local municipalities to know what the current regulations are on meetings and gatherings. Your local council can assist you with this, as they are monitoring these regulations closely. You may find that there is not an absolute ban on gatherings, but there are some regulations that will require you and your parents to get creative. That brings us to the second step, which many of you have already done, which is to reach out personally with each family in your pack. Now, this call should be just to check in with them to see how they're doing. Through this conversation, you'll be able to gauge if that family is ready to do something in person or not. Keep in mind that you're not looking for most parents to say that they're ready, just a critical mass. This critical mass can be as few as 3 families, and I'll explain why later. When parents were asking what they were looking forward to in a youth program this fall, this is how they responded. 48% normalcy. I'm not surprised it's not higher. 45% to do something as a group, even if it means social distancing. 44% said to do something productive with other kids, and even if that means that's online. And then 30% is something to keep them busy. For those of you doing the math in your head, this survey did allow for individuals to give multiple responses. The overall message, however, is clear. There is a high likelihood that your families want to continue with scouting. Now for the third step. We're ready to get together and have some fun getting creative with our solutions. Knowing your local regulations and guidelines and the readiness level of your families to do something, pull together a small team to plan an in-person event, assuming that there are no local regulations against it. If you happen to be in a community where local regulations are so strict you cannot do anything in person as a group, we still want you to take this time to follow these steps so that when you can do something in person, you're ready to do so. In other words, we want you to be prepared. If you find that you are the only one trying to pull something together, reach out to your local council. I assure you that they want to provide you with as much support as possible and know of additional resources that are available to you. Now, this fourth step can be done simultaneously with the previous step, which is to engage your charter partner. Your charter partner may not have an indoor meeting space to provide you, but they may have access to an outdoor space or know of another facility that they can assist you with. If your charter partner is unable to assist you, you will still need to inform them of any decision you make about using a different location for your scouting activities. Now, remember that one solution for a meeting location may simply be the backyard, garage, or other location owned by one of your families in your pack. Check out the meeting place inspection checklist found at scouting.org and in Scoutbook. This will help answer questions your charter partner and parents may have about this new location. Now, the fifth step brings us back to the idea of only needing a small critical mass to move forward with an in-person event. We have been in contact with packs from around the country who have found their own solutions to conducting an event in person. Each of them said that they found families who were on the fence about doing scouting again this year came out and they had a great time and they decided to stay. They found that families that had not responded to messages over the past several months just showed up. This speaks to this research that shows that many parents do want to do something in person. In addition to keeping more families from fading away, these packs also sent invitations to local schools and neighborhoods. For an example, here's a door hanger that 2 packs put together to promote joining. They simply put these door hangers on neighborhoods they knew had large elementary school aged population. Now, here's a tip from the experts. When planning your first pack in-person event, keep it simple. Most packs just decided to do something fun and easy, like fishing, where it is easy to do social distancing and families can come and go. Flying kites, a drive-in, or backyard movie are simple to put on. As you and your pack evaluate your first event, your event planning skills will increase. Cones, painter's tape, and surveyor paint are your best friends. One pack conducted a complete overnight camp out, and marked off areas for each family where they could be mask free, something their local regulations allowed. Hand sanitizer, hand washing stations, and masks, providing these essentials at your events will ensure that everyone can keep to the practices necessary to keep everyone safe. We are Scouts. We are problem solvers. We adapt, and we do so with a cheerful spirit. Our children, the next generation of leaders, are watching us and how we take on this challenge. I know that we will not let them down. I know you won't let them down. Now, it's time for you to share. Consider these questions and discuss them with your fellow Scout leaders. What are your local regulations about meeting in person? Who has found a way to conduct an event in person that meets with local regulations? What events have they done? What lessons have they learned? If your local regulations allow it, or when they do, will you commit to conducting an event in person? All right, thanks for being at Roundtable. Look forward to seeing you next time.
And thank you very much. As he mentioned, there were some questions there to think about, and we're not going to work on those right now, but it does bring up another comment just to remind everyone out there, and especially everybody who's joining us from Wabash Valley tonight, this is an interactive session, and we do encourage questions. So if you have something that you'd like to talk about or a question that you would like to ask, do so in the chat. We do see that live chat here on our end. It's about 10-second delay depending on the platform that you're contacting us from, but we do receive those, and we will bring those in and discuss those as we go along. For instance, Clarissa Jones from here in Pathfinder District asked a question about Jared Kavanaugh's information specifically on the outdoor events. She was asking if she needs to provide dates for the outdoor activities or just numbers. Really what Jared's going to be looking for are the numbers of activities. Doesn't have to be specific dates, but if you can put what month it took place in, and then numbers of Scouts who were active at those events, if you can provide that as well. We obviously know that with virtual it can be a little bit touch and go, but try to provide as much information as you can, but it's not make or break that it has to be absolutely exact and you have to tell us the exact beginning time and ending time. It just has to be a little bit generic as far as the information goes. But if you have another question, or if there was something in that video that you would like to discuss, talking about events that have worked or haven't, feel free to drop them in the chat. We will have a Q&A at the end of our roundtable this evening. But we're going to move along because it's already 7:27 in the p.m. Check local listings. So we're going to move on to our first section, and I would like to bring in the wonderful Tucker LaPrade, our district director here in Pathfinder District. The video's a little bit fuzzy, but I assure you he is there. We're having to zoom in on his face a little bit more in order to get him seen. I know, Tucker, you've got a lot of information that you want to discuss tonight about recharter. And for those of you who are from Wabash Valley, don't go anywhere, stick around. We do also have Jordan Sanho joining us to provide information about your recharter as well. But Tucker, if you'd like to start with your section and kind of discuss what you've got for us, we'd greatly appreciate it. Take it away. Nope, you are still muted, sir. If you can go ahead and unmute your mic.
Thank you. Thanks, Matthew, and thanks to all who have joined us on the call. Sorry about the feed. I did want to just make sure that everyone is aware, and thank you to Matthew for creating this. We do have a sign-up genius going around for the 2 Pathfinder District Roundtable turn-ins. If you've not yet signed up, please do so. We've got a lot of volunteers that are ready and willing and have already volunteered to help on these 2 nights. So please make their time worth it and thank them for volunteering by signing up for one of these 2 recharter turn-ins. So those dates are 12th. On Thursday, we're going to be in the north part of the district on Beach Grove Community Center. And then next week, on Thursday the 19th, we will be in the county seat of Johnson County at the Franklin Elks Lodge. So again, those are the times for you to turn in your recharter paperwork and please sign up for a time. You might be asking yourself, well, gee whiz, why I usually, turn my recharter paperwork in on December 31st. Why do you have it, turn-ins before Thanksgiving? The reason for this has a lot to do with our wonderful program, The Promise to Parents. That's for you Cub Scout packs, that $40 off per Cub Scout. And I know we went deep on this last week, but one of the big items there is to have your recharter turned in by November 30th. And as you know, many of us are going to be not around doing recharter paperwork the week of Thanksgiving, so that is just coming right up. So please sign up for those times. Thank you to Matthew, thank you to Marshall, our district commissioner, to Angie, our district chair, for arranging these wonderful recharter turn-ins, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys on the 12th and 19th.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Tucker. A couple of questions for these recharter turn-ins, and we did have the sign-up link on the screen. I'll put it back up one more time just in case anybody missed it. What are the items that our units need to bring to these recharter appointments? So if they sign up for the 12th or the 19th, what exactly do they need to bring with them to turn in to you or to the commissioners to complete their recharter process?
Sure, thank you, Matthew. So they need to turn in, when you complete your recharter, it spits out a report for you. You print out the report, and then you bring that with you. Now, some of the main things that typically hold folks up is that report will say on the very first page, hey, here's some adults that may have changed positions, or you may be adding to your recharter, or some youth. You need to bring those applications with you as well. Also, that does need to be signed by your charter organization rep. So, yeah, and part of this, ladies and gentlemen, to have the whole purpose of having a recharter turn-in is you're going to bring your paperwork that night, and we know that something's going to be wrong. There's going to be, somebody who's missing a piece of paper here, or a youth protection training there. So this does give you a buffer to kind of turn it in. Your commissioners will go over the paperwork with you, will help you fix whatever's needed. If you need to fix something, you'll leave that night knowing exactly what you need to do and where to bring it back.
And then also, as we're talking about the paperwork, after you finished Internet Recharter, you talked about the reports that are print out. There's the copy of the actual charter agreement that needs to be brought in. For new applications, we also need to make sure, and just to make sure we're correct, the extra background authorization form. Last year we had to do those for all leaders because we were getting everybody caught up. This year, those only need to be turned in for new applications, or do we have to do it for everybody again?
Thanks for that. So if you have a currently registered leader, currently registered in 2020, they do not need that additional disclosure form. However, if you are registering a new leader, they will need that additional disclosure form. That form is now, thank the Lord, part of the new BSA adult applications. So you may check your adult applications to make sure you have one of the new ones. They are available to pick up in the council office. And now I'm going to get really technical on you, Matthew, but you have the new form if on the form it says additional disclosure form. If the black box is in the center of the page, it's the new form.
Excellent. And then one last thing to make sure you brought, and I just want to make sure, I wasn't sure if you said it or not, the Journey to Excellence form, that's also something that needs to come in with your recharter. And we discussed this last month. There are updated versions of those available if you go to the district webpage. We have links that will take you to where you can get those updated forms. There are new ones that account for the pandemic and for virtual meetings and what have you, make sure you've got your GTE form as well. So, Tucker, thank you so much for joining us. We'll have you back here to answer some questions, but I'm actually going to do a little switcheroo and bring in a replacement district executive. I hope you're not heartbroken.
I'm jealous.
You're jealous, but I would like to welcome, debuting for the first time here at Pathfinder Districts Roundtable, Mr. Jordan Sando. Jordan, welcome to Pathfinder Districts. It's a pleasure having you from out west. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having myself and the Wabash Valley District.
No, it's
enjoying your roundtable.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Obviously, it's recharter for your district as well. We know that you've got a lot going on out there. Would you like to share a little bit more detailed information about what Wabash Valley has in store for recharter this month and the details that your units need to know about?
Yes, so we also have a sign-up genus that has been sent out to the Cub Masters and committee chairs of all of the units. We will actually be having 3 turn-in dates. The first one will be this Thursday, the 12th, from 6:30 to 8:30 at Memorial United Methodist Church, where we have our usual roundtable. Hence why we're joining you tonight, so that we can have our turn-in on Thursday. And then we will have 2 more. One will be on Monday, the 16th, at Wasser Brewing Company in Greencastle. And then our third one will be Wednesday, or excuse me, sorry, our third one is Wednesday in Greencastle at Wasser Brewing. Our second one is Monday, that will be in Clinton. Our district commissioner, Matt Donahue, will be reaching out to the units in Park and Vermilion counties for that sign up. And they will all be from 6:30 to 8 or 8:30.
Excellent. And if Wabash Valley units, if they have questions about this information, is there someplace that they can go to find where the links are for your sign-up genius, or to find out more information about these nights? Where should they go to get that information?
Yep, so the district commissioner and I will be reaching out the next couple weeks, making sure that everyone has the information they need.
All right. Is there anything else? While I've got you here on the line, do you have any other specific announcements that you'd like to go over for Wabash Valley tonight to kind of let everybody know things that they need, even beyond recharter? I'm happy to give you as much time as you need to kind of go over that information tonight.
Yeah, thank you. And actually, you asked about additional forms for recharter. One snag that we ran into last year with venturing crews, if you have a youth who is 17 that will be turning 18, they will require an adult application with youth protection and that updated CBC form, and then listed as a venturing participant. So make sure if you have someone who's 17 turning 18, they have the new adult application. I'd say that we're also having our district annual meeting for our district committee and chartered organization reps on December 3rd at Camp Wildwood at 6:30. So all of those members will be invited to see our new slate of district committee members and to vote that on.
Excellent. Fantastic. Well, I do genuinely appreciate you joining us tonight to talk about the information that you've got for out there in Wabash Valley. I took great pleasure in meeting you a couple of years ago during summer camp, and unfortunately, because of distance, we don't get to connect that much, but it's great having you here with us tonight. Really appreciate it. Can you stick around a little bit and be available for the Q&A here at the end?
Yes, I should be able to do that.
All right, fantastic. We'll bring you back here in just a little bit. Thank you so much, Jordan. We appreciate it. One quick note, Jordan mentioned for Wabash Valley that they were doing the district slating and elections as far as leaders are concerned for their district. Pathfinder, we also do have our elections information that just went out. So chartering organization representatives, voting members of the district committee, district at large, those holding title positions, you should have received an email on that earlier today. So double check your email. Information about that voting process is in there. Ours is going to be different than normal because we are doing our roundtables virtually in this method. So please do double check your email for that information. If you should be receiving it, you did receive it earlier today. So We're going to move on to our second breakout of the evening. We're going to go to the Scouts BSA breakout, and it's an appropriate one since tomorrow is Veterans Day, also known as Armistice Day. I know that our troop meeting on Monday, our Scoutmaster had a fantastic Scoutmaster Minute talking about the 48 stars on the flag. We had a 48-star flag there at the meeting. Ceremonies are important, this time of year with Veterans Day, and unfortunately we're not getting to do as many of them as we would like. But for our troops and our crews and our ships, there are ways that we can look to do ceremonies in a socially distanced and pandemic-friendly way. And tonight's roundtable breakout for Scouts BSA covers just that information. So without further ado, here's your breakout, and we'll catch you as soon as the video is over.
We use ceremonies as a powerful way to add meaning to Scout meetings or events and to keep Scouts engaged in the program. Ceremonies can be used during your meeting activity as a formal opening or closing, but unfortunately the pandemic has caused many troops to stop doing ceremonies during their virtual meetings or activities. This breakout session will help you consider how to perform ceremonies safely and keep them an integral part of the troop's experience. Outside serves as the safest place to conduct a well-run, youth-led ceremony while the virus remains pervasive. Be familiar with the health guidelines of your community and state when looking for a ceremony location. Ensure social distancing for the safety of your Scouts and others in attendance. Safety should always be a priority for Scouts. Help your Scouts remember that when planning the ceremony. Have a conversation with your chartering organization when seeking locations. They may offer your troop their parking lot or have an available open area behind your meeting location. Keep in mind the location must be large enough to allow social distancing not only for those scheduled to attend, but in case you have unexpected guests. Parking lots of community sites such as a police station or firehouse, library, or even public parks can serve as locations. If considering using these sites, make sure there's enough space to hold your ceremony and not a high traffic area where safety can be a concern. Any outdoor site needs preparation. The site should be marked so attendees know where to stand. Facial coverings are required. Just make sure to make pre-made distance barriers. Separate each member by blocking out every other space. Have a plan and agenda so the Scouts know what they will be doing during the ceremonies and meetings. Include lots of details from who will speak to where the front of the presentation will be. Your ceremony must be well scripted and laid out. Take full advantage of the outdoors as a background. Use the landscape to your advantage if permissible. An outdoor meeting location allows you to incorporate nature, so account for that when staging. Outdoor acoustics can be a challenge. Mark with tape or chalk where people need to stand or stop for the ceremony. This will help in planning for background noise. You may have to get creative to be heard during traffic, construction, aircraft, and so on. Keep in mind that light and noise can make it difficult for everyone to hear and see. Be aware when and where the sun sets and rises, along with the best location to stage a camera if doing a virtual ceremony to engage your Scouts who may want to be involved remotely. Consider having a Scout or adult leader be responsible for broadcasting the meeting to Scouts using their phone or tablet. Despite the current pandemic challenge, your troop can hold ceremonies to enhance the Scouting experience no matter where or how you meet. Ideas on doing an opening or closing for troop meetings or your Patrol Leaders Council can be found at the website on the screen. Please use the remainder of this breakout session time to consider these questions, and thank you for all you do for Scouting.
All right. We will definitely have time for those questions as we get to our Q&A session at the end, but I do want to go ahead and bring on who may be the most patient gentleman that we have at Roundtable. He's been on hold now for 45 minutes, waiting patiently for his turn to speak, and I know that he is a special guest that many of you are here at Roundtable, both Pathfinder and Wabash Valley, to specifically hear from tonight. I would like to welcome Mr. Matthew Long from the Crossroads of America Council. He's a program executive with our council. Mr. Long, welcome to Pathfinder's Roundtable. It's a pleasure to have you tonight. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. And this is actually my first virtual roundtable for any district. So I'm so excited to be here. And I'm really looking forward to tonight talking to you, hearing your questions, and talking through one of the most exciting things about scouting, which is summer camp.
Very true. It is definitely one of the best parts of our program, and more so than ever, I think I'm looking forward to summer camp as much as I ever have, simply because we didn't get to do it in 2020. So I think the first question on everybody's mind, are we having summer camp in 2021? And if so, what do I need to know about it? So I know you've got a great presentation put together for us. I'm going to go ahead and put that up here for you. But if you'd like to share everybody the exciting plans that we have for Camp 2021, I'm sure we're all ears.
Thank you, Matt. So, as I said, and as Matt said, my name is Matthew Long with the council. I have the pleasure to serve as the Camp Belzer camp director, in addition to working with the program team. So my knowledge on Camp Belzer is very specific and very wide, but my knowledge on our other programs, summer camp, I do have a lot of information, but just note that, some very detailed questions about very specific questions regarding program or specific activities within each of those programs, I may not necessarily be able to answer, but I know who to point you in the right direction. So I want to go ahead and move right into the content, which is this little chart here. Now, I do want to recommend maybe bring your cell phone out. There are quite a few different slides that I have that have a lot of information, and a lot of information that you may want to keep. I do know this is being recorded, but it may be helpful to just take a picture of these slides for you. So the first kind of section is day camps. We kind of have two options for day camps. First of which is the regional day camps. Now, this is a slight rebranding. This is district day camps. There is no change. Wabash Valley and Pathfinder districts are both going to be continuing to host their district day camp. The reason we have changed names and we would like everyone to start using regional day camps is because while each district is putting that on, district leadership is assisting with that, district volunteers are assisting with those day camps, we want everyone to know that if you live in the area, it is still an option to you. You may not be a member of Pathfinder district, but if you live in the area where that district day camp is being held, we would love you to come to it. So that's why we want to start using regional day camps. It's just simply a rebranding. That is not to diminish, Pathfinder or Wabash Pride when hosting your day camp. But just note that this is just a slight difference, just so that we can be more welcoming to more participants in the area of your particular day camp. The second, of course, is day camp at Camp Belzer. And we have two tracks within this. And this is a change from 2020 and 2019. But just note that day camp at Camp Belzer are two options. The first option is for our tigers and wolves. Those are the individuals that will be tigers and wolves in the summer. So the summer of 2021, tigers and wolves. And then we also have a second track at Camp Belzer, which was formerly known as Theme Weeks. And that will be available for anyone in 3rd grade and 8th grade, rising 3rd and 8th grade. Now, that program is really exciting. Each week is a very specific theme with very specific programming. So please check out that information specifically once it becomes available. But just note that day camp at Camp Belzer, two different options for two different age groups. We'll move into our overnight camps. Now, this is a big change, so I'll talk slowly. Make sure, I know you can chat in your questions, so feel free to do those. But this is a big change for 2021, so I just want to make sure that we get through all the details very, very specifically. So Camp Kick the Weenin and Camp Cretenstein will be offering the same program. And what I mean by that is it's going to be offering the same program in two different times of the year. In June, there will be Family Camp and Arrow of Light Camp occurring at Kick the Weenin. In July, there will be Family Camp and Arrow of Light Camp occurring at Camp Cretenstein. This is based on a lot of feedback that we received from the original Camp 2020 plan. We heard from a lot of adult leaders like yourselves that transportation was a huge issue moving back and forth from Kick the Weenin or Cretenstein or either or. So we wanted to provide this as an option so that those on the west side of the state have an opportunity to go to Family Camp and Arrow of Light Camp in their backyard. And same for Pathfinder. This is an option where whatever works best for you, going to Cretenstein or Kick the Weenin, you now have options for both. And I do have the dates for that in the next slide, so don't worry, we'll be able to talk about specific dates and specific, which location and which session. So don't worry, that information is coming, but just know that there are 3 sessions of Kick the Weenin Family Camp and 3 sessions of Arrow of Light Kick the Weenin at Kick the Weenin in June. And there are 2 sessions at Cretenstein, a family camp in July, and 2 sessions of Arrow Light Camp in July at Cretenstein. And last but not, of course, least, is Randsburg Scout Reservation, serving all of our Scouts BSA members. Not a lot of changes going on with Randsburg. There's been changes in the campsites that I'm sure you've seen, but just note that registration is open for Randsburg right now. We have actually had an exceedingly large number of troops already booking their space, and we actually have a session that is already full. So if you have not yet registered for Randsburg Scout Reservation, you have an opportunity to do that. You could do that tonight, right now, if you're interested. The other Cub Scout camps registration will go live December 1st. Of course, you'll see more information coming out when we get closer to that, but December 1st for all other Cub Scout camps, Randsburg Scout Reservation is open right now. Matt, if you want to go ahead and move to the next slide. So this is the breakdown of individual sessions, just so that you know which weeks they are occurring, what dates they're occurring. One fun thing about this summer is that actually all of our our Cub Scout camps will be starting on June 7th. So that's a really good date to have in your mind. Everything is starting June 7th. So just keep that in mind. The first session of Belzer, you guessed it, June 7th. So those are the dates. I'm not going to read the dates to you, but just note that those are what those are. And then if you look at the regional day camps down there, yet again, a slight rebranding. We're not talking about specifically the Pathfinder or the Wabash District Day Camp, but we are talking about the FFA Leadership Center serving Franklin in the Greenwood area. We have the Camp Wildwood serving the greater Terre Haute area. And those dates are there on that slide as well for you. I want to go ahead and move to the next slide. This is the slide that I said I would show you. Make sure that you've got, so it's got the location and sessions for each family camp and Arrow of Light camp. So this is a good one to take a look at, just so you have the dates for each of the sessions for each of the locations. And then moving on next to Randsburg Scout Reservation, the next slide. Perfect. Those are the dates and sessions for Randsburg Scout Reservation. Do note that week 2 right there, June 6th through the 12th, is already sold out, but that doesn't mean there are still plenty of other options in the other weeks. Just note that our more popular weeks, such as week 1 and week 3, are probably filling up right now as we speak. So make sure you get those reservations in today. You can do that today, so make sure you get those signed up. Next slide. All right, here is the fee structure for this summer. There are a few changes on this that you may not be expecting. I'm not going to go through each individual camp, each individual price, but I will hit the highlights. First of which is the regional day camp. So that is a change. That is a substantial change to the fee for regional, what was formerly district day camp. And the reason is this, is we want to provide more opportunities and a better experience for our Scouts. While we were definitely providing a great value, a wonderful value for what we were providing at both Pathfinder and Wabash Valley Day Camp, we recognized that what we were providing is more valuable to the community. We are providing a service that could be charged for more. So this is an opportunity for us to both increase the amount of opportunities we have at camp, to increase the amount of money that we're spending in program supplies and activities. So this is a great opportunity, I think, to expand our programs and to be a better advocate in our community for the regional day camps. So that was one of the bigger changes. Some of the fees have changed. Randsburg, for those following along at home, has changed as well. Those are, again, to just meet the demand that we're having at those facilities and to meet our expenses. The pandemic has changed a lot of things. Some of our food vendors have increased their prices, and we just have to follow along with that. So a lot of this is to cover our expenses and just to make sure that we're providing the value that equals the price. So I've already seen some questions flow in, but I'll kick it back to Matt. I know we've got a Q&A session towards the end, so I appreciate all your questions. Oh, I am so sorry. The last thing I wanted to say, on that price structure slide, I had the April 15th date. That is the early bird deadline for all camps, Cub Scout and Scouts BSA. April 15th is the early bird deadline. So that's a big date to keep in mind. April 15th, make sure you get your reservations in there so that you get the early bird fee. And then all those fees that are listed on that slide are the early bird fees. So the regular fee, as you can see, there's a little, asterisk at the bottom, add 25 to all youth prices shown for the regular fee. So Just note that early bird fee ends April 15th. But back to you, Matt.
Excellent. Yeah, and that was actually the first question that I was going to ask is the April 15th date is not just troop, because traditionally there have been different dates for troops, cruise ships that are going to Brandsburg, and then packs for everything else. Everything across the board, April 15th. That is correct.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Yep. It was a huge effort by us to get everything on the same page. It's a lot easier to talk to large groups when we're talking about one date and one date only.
And we did have a couple of questions come in, as you mentioned. One specifically, since you are already, here, we're going to talk about the camp questions first. Michaela Hamill here in Pathfinder District had a question about Belzer, and this is your wheelhouse. Did you mean to say 5th grade for Belzer, or the extended one's really 8th grade? That really is all the way up to 8th grade Scouts. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, that's a great question. Is it a really exciting program? Themed Weeks is. So this is an opportunity where a scout that wants to know more about swimming or more about shooting sports, or they can pick the theme that they want to go to the week that they want to go to. And we do have that age going all the way up to 8th grade. The programs will still be split, so we will be having our Cub Scout aged youth and our Scouts BSA aged youth participating in the same theme and many of the same activities, but they will be separated and they will be working on things separately. We recognize that a 3rd grader and an 8th grader do not learn the same way, so we do need to split those groups.
Excellent. Sticking with that theme week, because I know it's going to be an extremely popular option. From my PAC's own perspective, had 2020 taken place, our registrations for the theme weeks outnumbered any other camp option that we were doing. So we had like 6 options on our PAC's calendar, and we had more going to theme week than anything else. The theme weeks this year, last year they were going to be held in some cases off-site, whether it be at Cretenstein, or not Cretenstein, at Kick the Weenan, or other options. This year, are they being held at Belzer, off-site, both, neither? What is the actual case there?
It is both. So our aquatics and shooting sports weeks, we just simply don't have the facilities at Camp Belzer to host those. So we actually will do, people will come and check in to camp each day at Belzer, and then we will bus them up to Camp Kick the Weenan. Those will line up in July so that they don't overlap with our family camp and our Arrow of Light camp. So in July, they will have moved to Cretenstein to offer those programs there at that facility. So we will then have an opportunity to take those theme weeks to Kick the Weenan. It's a good question.
Also with Belzer, so the program, and again, this is to reemphasize because I know it can be confusing, especially for new parents that are coming into the PACs. When we refer to a den or a grade level, we're referring to what they will be after they age up June 1st. So when we say tigers and wolves for the Camp Belzer track, who we're talking about would be this year's, like in your pack right now, lions and tigers, your kindergartners and 1st graders that will age up June 1st, correct?
That's correct, yep.
Okay. For that program, last year I know that with Camp Belzer, for the first time, they were introducing the idea for the program that it could be a drop-off type scenario for day camp. Traditionally, in years past, PACs had to have leadership there, and for lions and tigers, or in this case, tigers, after they age up, had to have a parent present at day camp, which was a barrier for some people to attend. We were changing that for 2020. We didn't get to do the great experiment with that. Is that still the plan for 2021? Yes,
it is. And I do recognize now, thank you for the question. It's almost embarrassing, but I didn't actually explain what each of these programs are for each of these camps. So I appreciate the question. Totally not planned this way, but I appreciate the heads up. So I'll take a brief moment to just talk through each of the programs. You hit on the really big one for Camp Belzer. It is a drop-off experience for both the Tigers and Wolves and all other youth, formerly theme weeks. That is a drop-off camp. The other options was family camp. Family camp is open to the family. And what I mean by that is I mean older and younger siblings. So that is an opportunity where you can bring the whole family in addition to what is kind of focused. The program is focused on bears and webelos, but you can bring older and younger siblings. Even the youth that are, of age to shoot rifles and shotguns, if there is enough of them, they will be able to do that. Bears and wolves cannot shoot rifles and shotguns, but if there is enough older, siblings that are participating in this program, there will be programming for those older siblings. So it's a wonderful program. And really, if you have difficulty sending your youth to multiple camps, you're not able to coordinate vacation or coordinate time off or whatever, really family camp is the option for you. If you are looking for a one-stop shop for your family, family camp is what we recommend. Of course, we recommend, if you can, send them to every rank that is specific. Scouts BSA, Rainsburg Scout Reservation, Arrow of Light Camp, Family Camp, Bears and Webelos, and then, of course, Tigers and Wolves to Belzer. But if you can't do that, Family Camp is the option for you. Now, Arrow of Light Camp, that is for those youth that will become Arrow of Lights. This is a really amazing program. We have hosted it before at Camp Kick the Wiener way back in the day for our council, but we're bringing it back, and we're super excited about this program. This is something that's not done widely in the country. In 2020, we had people signing up from Florida because they wanted to come to our Arrow of Light camp. So we're really excited about this program. It's focused on that really, really important part, transition into Scouts BSA. So we take those Arrow of Light Scouts and we work on the patrol method. We start to get the basics of the troop, and we try to make sure that transition into Scouts BSA is flawless. So it's an amazing program. And of course, Scouts BSA is everything that you remember from Rainsburg Scout Reservation. You bring your scout leader and you bring your troop and you coordinate together.
Excellent. For everybody on the stream, we're always expecting our one snag for the roundtable. If you hear my 4-year-old running around the background, I apologize. He's decided that he wants to be a little bit more active this month. So there's our snag for the month. A couple of the questions that came up, again, talking about the what used to be called theme weeks for Camp Belzer, now the tracks for 3rd through 8th grade Scouts. Misty Walker here in Pathfinder asked, busking to Kick the Wiener and back every day for camp. Do you kind of want to walk through what the logistics look like for those couple of options that will be going for aquatics and shooting sports that will be traveling? Kick the Wiener isn't necessarily that far from Belzer, as strange as it sounds, but you want to kind of walk through those logistics a little bit?
Yeah, so the logistic is all on our end. It's not on the parents or the pack or the dinner or anything. So we would be providing transportation to Kick the Wiener and Belzer back and forth each day. So a parent, dropping off their 3rd through 8th grader, 7th grader, 6th grader, it doesn't matter. They would drop off at Belzer. We would then wait for everyone, and then we would load up on a bus and we would go to Camp Kick the Wiener, and we participate in that program there. And then we would bus them back, and parents would pick up back at Camp Belzer. We just simply don't have the facilities at Belzer. For example, it's in Marion County, it's in the city of Indianapolis. We can't shoot rifles and shotguns. So, we've got to go up to Camp Kick the Wiener for shooting sports week. So, that's why we're doing it. It's definitely a little bit more logistic heavy, but it's all on our end.
And we're specifically, and this kind of goes to a comment, a little bit of a back and forth in the chat. When we're talking about Kick the Wiener for this busing, we're only referring to the theme weeks that would be registered for through Camp Belzer. The traditional Kick the Wiener overnight camps, whether it be family camp or the Arrow of Light camp, those are overnight, and there's no busing there. The unit's going to go, the family's going to go, and you're going to stay, and then you go home when you're done. That is correct?
That is correct. Yep.
Okay, just making sure. One question that came in, and this is going to say Pathfinder District BSA is the one who sent it. I'm assuming it's one of our district committee members who's on the Facebook page. I'm not sure who. But the question came in, are registration caps being lowered to accommodate social distancing? Let's turn this into more of a general question involving the pandemic and Summer Camp 2021. Allowing for the asterisk right now of who knows what the regulation is going to look like come June 7th, 2021. Can you kind of speak to what the plans are at this point on how preparations are maybe a little bit different for Camp 2021 this time around, what we might be looking at, things like that?
Yeah, and you hit it on the nose, 100%. Everything that we're talking about tonight in regards to COVID-19 is got that huge asterisk of we don't know what it's going to be like during the summer of 2021. I will say from the get-go, Crossroads of America Council, all of our summer camps will follow all laws and all regulations and all recommendations by our local and state and national healthcare providers. We will be doing that. So if it does come down to the fact that, running summer camp is just simply not an option, both because there's legal regulations that say we can't, or that it is not recommended by any of our healthcare providers, then we won't. I will say that summer camps, not here in Crossroads America Council, but elsewhere in the country, did occur during the summer of 2020. So it is possible to run a summer camp safely and appropriately during these times. So we've taken a lot of notes from those other camps. We have learned a lot of things, and we've definitely got the right idea of what we need to be doing to make sure to ensure the safety of our scouts. A couple things to note: the specific question of our caps being lowered, we are taking everything into account. Belzer and the Cub Scout camps are for sure lowering their caps. This is both because we've got the space restrictions, we've got social distancing requirements, so those are being taken into account. I will say that right now we don't know if social distancing will be required in 2021. My guess, my gut feeling is it probably will. So we will be taking that into account for sure. There are other options for Randsburg Scout Reservation to make sure that we're meeting those social distancing requirements. It's also a lot bigger facility than our other camps. So we're a lot less worried about that. I will say some of the other things we're taking into account, there's going to be more sanitation, masks will be required, all of those steps will be taken that need to be taken to ensure the safety of our youth. But just know that we are planning and continuing to move forward. Like I said, we've learned so much from the camps that ran in the summer of 2020. And we've also just been learning more about the virus, more information. Dr. Kane is actually on our board for our council. So we have a wonderful resource. Dr. Kane, for those that don't know, is the Marion County health director. So, we are working with everyone. We are working with the experts and making those decisions. My gut is that we will be having camp in 2021 unless there is some sort of legal issue that prevents us from doing that. We understand what we've got to do to stay safe, and we're going to take those steps to do that. So my gut is that we are going to be running in 2021. It may look different, it may feel different, but we'll be running.
Absolutely. And, like we said, without a crystal ball, there's absolutely no way we can know what to expect. And I think, if the worst were to happen and camp were to be canceled again, which none of us are wishing for, goodness knows, I want to go to camp. I think the council did make it very plain this past summer that, if a cancellation does occur, that refunds, will take place. So I think everyone should feel safe that if you're registering for summer camp at this point and the worst were to happen, there is some security in that. So I would take that, into account as you're making your plans.
100%. And our refund policy from summer of 2020 will be carried over in 2021, which would mean if camp is canceled, full refund. If you are unable to attend because you have tested positive or someone in your family has tested positive, full refund. We're going to work with you and make it possible for you to attend summer camp.
Excellent. A question that came in from actually somebody in my pack. Can you show the slides one more time? I think for purposes of time, instead of showing the slides, the better question is, will the slides be available somewhere? I will answer from a Pathfinder district point of view. For those of you in Wabash Valley, if you simply go to the Pathfinder district webpage, which is our district page on the council website, or for an easier, faster way of doing it, pathfinderbsa.org gets you there. I will make sure that a copy of these slides gets put on our resources links. Give me the next 24 hours because, like I said, 4-year-old running around. But I'll make sure that it's up there. But Matt, for your purposes, is there going to be a place where they can get this information? Where's the best resource for all of our summer camp planners out there, our committee chairs for that? Where should they go?
Yeah, so, I can send these slides to anyone that wants it. But I will say that, our resources are launched December 1st. So we're not quite there yet. This is the very first preview. I can send these slides to whoever wants them. But just note that, more resources, more information will be coming out prior to that. We have on November 17th is a huge release to a lot of specific promoters and those involved in the camp promotions world. So there is more information coming, I promise. But December 1st, everything will be out there. That's when registration goes live, and that will be on the crossroadsbsa.org website, where it's always been for summer camp signups, obviously on the website. So just go on there for crossroadsbsa.org, and you'll be able to get to summer camps from there. Like I said, December 1st is when everything will go live.
Question from Misty Walker that came in. Again, kind of talking to Belzer. Can parents volunteer to help/supervise at Belzer? And I think this is probably a two-part question, because part one, if a pack is going to Belzer as a pack, you can still have adults, registered leaders, whatnot, go as volunteers, I'm assuming. I think Misty may be asking on the second part of this, though. If units are, if you're in a pack and they're not going that specific week, could a parent or a volunteer to work at Belzer to help with supervision? Could they go and help? Kind of answer those two questions in general. I think that might be connected in some way.
Yeah, of course. So, Belzer is not inherently changing from what happened in 2019 for those that participate in the program. Packs and DINs can still attend Camp Belzer together as a group if they so wish. That is still an opportunity, and parents are, of course, always welcome. And that's the same with even as an individual. Parents are always welcome. With any Scouts BSA or Cub Scout program, parents are always welcome to attend these programs. So even family camp, obviously you're going as a family, but Arrow of Light camp, that is another option. It's not necessarily recommended. Arrow of Light camp is very much so focused on transition into Scouts BSA, where parents may not be nearly as involved, though parents are always welcome to participate in the programs with their Scouts. Back to that first, can you volunteer at some of our camps? Of course you can. We are always looking for individuals that are excited to work with our programs. This is even a plug to maybe teachers out there, or maybe individuals that have the summer available. We are also hiring, and we employ individuals of all ages to work at our programs. So certainly looking for volunteers. We're also looking for employees if you're interested in working. But let us know. Reach out to someone on the program team, myself, Matt Keck, or Thomas Barrington. We're interested in talking to anyone that's interested in volunteering.
And you actually touched on the last thing that I was going to ask about, because I think we've hit every question that's in the chat. One final appeal out there to everybody: if you have a question you'd like to discuss, not just camp, but anything we've talked about in Roundtable tonight, or anything else that you would like to discuss, get it in the chat here real quick so that we can make sure that we answer those before we sign off. But Matt, back to you real quick, and I just thought of a second question. But the one that you touched on with staffing, camp staff with our youth, specifically with Scouts, has always been a fantastic opportunity. If we have Scouts who are interested in becoming camp staffers, what does the process look like? When can they start doing it? And what are the youth requirements? Because you said all ages, and I know that's not exactly true. What are the requirements if we have a Scout that wants to be on camp staff?
Of course, yeah, and a great question. So we are hiring right now as we speak. So applications can be submitted. That's on crossroadsbsa.org. I think it's under employment is where you would head to go there. But we are accepting applications as we speak for all of our properties, all of our camp staff. So certainly push anyone there. Each camp is a little bit different. Belzer, you can start working at Camp Belzer at the age of 14 and up. Kick the Ween in Cretenstein would be 15 and up, and Randsburg would be 15 up and up as well. So those are options for those Scouts BSA members, obviously not our Cub Scouts, but our Scouts BSA members. And I will say, while it is definitely very common for, our Scouts BSA and maybe those that had just aged out of their troop and are now maybe in college, that's our main bulk of camp staff, but that is not our only portion of camp staff. We have a lot of camp staff members that, that are much older, that are retired, maybe they're school teachers, they're free during the summer. So just note that, even those parents that have available during the summer, they're looking for something to do, we are still an option. So, yes, talk to your Scouts BSA members. We would love to have any of those individuals participating on camp staff, but also keep an eye out for your parents and any volunteers in your unit that may be interested in working during the summer.
Fantastic. And like I said, I thought of one more question because there's always one more thing. Apple fans, you know exactly what I'm talking about from earlier today. Quick plug there. So when it comes to camp, I had the opportunity earlier today, and I know that it was live streamed by the council, and there were several dozen people who were in attendance in person at Camp Belzer with the groundbreaking for a brand new maintenance facility that's in connection with a brand new innovation center. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, go check out some of the plans that we have in place for the growth of our camps. But it brings up a larger question. Work on our camp properties that started back in 2019, and we were excited to have certain renovations completed for Camp 2020 that we never had Camp 2020, so nobody really saw them. Work never stopped. So what kind of exciting, renovation details could you share with us about the camp properties that people may not have heard of recently? And, I would love to give the people here at Pathfinder Wabash Valley a little bit of the inside track on that information. So is there anything you can share with us in detail?
Yeah, there certainly is. So, some of the things that Matt was talking about regards to Camp Belzer, the new maintenance center and the innovation center, both of which will not, unfortunately, be ready for the summer. Well, I guess the maintenance center will be, but that's not a program area for any of our youth. But will not be ready for the summer of 2021. We're looking at the summer of 2023 when we would be able to get into the innovation center. But a lot of exciting things are happening at Belzer outside of just construction, just development of program year round and otherwise. So keep an eye on that. Kick the Weenin has gone through a huge improvement of their campsites. If you have not been to Camp Kick the Weenin, I don't know, within the last year, the place has changed. It is incredible. Just a lot of brush and field work to get the campsites looking a lot nicer. They have developed what they call like the standard campsite. So each campsite's got a fire ring and benches to sit on and very nice tents and tent platforms. These tents are huge. Those that have been to Randsburg know what I'm talking about when I talk about a wall tent. But this wall canvas tent, you can stand up and in most cases reach all the way up within the tent. So incredible tents at Camp Kick the Weenin, huge improvements there. Cretenstein, it's not necessarily new, but just know that the restroom and dining hall facility is actually some of the nicest in the council. Absolutely wonderful facilities at Camp Cretenstein. More things to come, more things that we're considering from the council level. And then Randsburg Scout Reservation, boy, has it been a long time in the coming, but the Jackson Shower facility, what's formerly known as the Jackson Shower facility, in the main portion of camp has been renovated. It is absolutely wonderful. If you've not been to Randsburg yet again in the last six to 8 months, then you have not seen the changes. It is a wonderful facility, single use. You walk in, close the door behind you, makes the youth a lot more comfortable, more options for adults in main camp. So it is a wonderful restroom facility, absolutely gorgeous. The in-low down on Ridge 3 has also been renovated so that it's single use. You go in, you close the door behind you for our youth, which is a great option, yet again, making youth more comfortable and also more accepting to Scouts BSA of both female and male Scouts BSA members. So great options there. And then Ridge 5 shower house on, you guessed it, Ridge 5 has also gone through renovation so that it's single use, again, to make the youth more comfortable and more available for female and male Scouts BSA members.
Excellent. And the one thing I will add to the Kick the Weenin list, and this was one of the original renovations they did as part of the campsite improvements, but all new toilet facilities at all the campsites. If you haven't been to one, I got the chance to see one right after it was put in. I could have slept in it. It was so clean. So there have been a lot of great developments, and I know we've been kind of going on a little bit longer than we normally do for Roundtable. I want to thank everybody for staying with us. I also want to thank Jordan and Tucker have kind of been hanging off in the distance. Jordan to the point where unfortunately we lost the connection, but Tucker has been with us behind the scenes. So thank you for joining us, Tucker, as well. There was one other question that came in, and I think it's less a question. It's more of one last topic that I think both Matt and Tucker, you can both agree with me that's important. At the appropriate time, will you please mention the Governor's Luncheon for Scouting? Eric Hawk, I'm sorry, Eric, for saying Ed, has a table at the Governor's Luncheon for Scouting. And in addition to his information, I have a table at the Governor's Luncheon for Scouting where I have a few seats still available. I know that Pathfinder District has one, Wabash Valley I know has some options available as well. In addition to that, the Governor's Luncheon for Scouting, in addition to being in person and socially distanced at Lucas Oil Stadium instead of at the JW Marriott, using 4-person tables instead of large 8 and 10-person banquet tables, so there will be plenty of social distancing taking place in person. But if for whatever reason you can't make it in person, we are also doing the Governor's Luncheon for Scouting this year virtually. For I'm not going to say the first time, because I know that we have done a virtual version with our more distant districts, but this time it's virtual for anyone who wants to participate. So Matt, Tucker, I'm not sure if one of you want to jump in to help pitch that. I know I kind of beat it up, but anything that you want to add on Luncheon for Scouting? Oh, Tucker, you're still muted. Tucker, you are still muted. And now you are frozen. All right, we are having signal issues with Tucker. Sorry about that, Tucker. Unfortunately, I'm going to change the feed over. Matt Long, your input, though, on Governor's Luncheon, obviously it is a big thing for our council, and we do encourage everybody to sign up either in person at a table if you know somebody who's hosting or virtually. Do you have anything that you want to add to that?
Yeah, I'll just say that, we're really excited to be hosting this event. It is huge for our council. It is vital for the success of our council. So we're really excited to have this event. And you hit the big points. It is going to be a socially distant event. It's incredible. We are using the full, field, the full Lucas Oil field. They'll put tiles down, so you won't actually be on the turf. But we'll be using that full size of a field for the luncheon. So it will be a socially distant and a very appropriate event for the the times that we're in. But that virtual option is also huge. I spoke to a table host would have been about a month ago, who would have never been able to attend a luncheon in a year. He works, he's not able to get time off, he's not able to participate in the event, but said yes to hosting a table virtually, which is absolutely wonderful. It's not necessarily because of the pandemic, but he was just excited to be able to participate in it virtually. So, the virtual option is huge. We're still working out the specific details, but just know it will be a wonderful event, and it'll be great to have you both either in person or virtually.
Excellent. There is, and this will be the final question, everybody. If you do have additional questions, please reach out to the council or to Tucker, myself, Jordan for Wabash Valley. Please continue to share your questions about recharter or summer camp or what have you. But there is a final question, and I think this is more of a clarification. Clarissa asked, for the family camp, bears, webelos we were talking about at the Camp K's, are PACs able to use that to take bears and webelos as long as 2 trained adults that are there in attendance? I guess the real crux of the question is, for those 3rd and 4th graders whose family can't go as a family, obviously we're looking at that as the ideal. It is an option for the PAC to go, provided they provide trained leadership in attendance. Explain how that may work.
Yeah, that's a good question, and thank you for asking it. It is certainly a family camp by design. So PACs are more than welcome to attend. That is still something we're accepting. You can go on the reservation system December 1st, and you could register as a PAC to go Camp Kick the Ween or Credenstein for family camp. You can do that. The program is not going to be necessarily ideal for that. What I mean by that is that, there isn't going to be a staff member leading you from station to station. So your PAC would kind of have to make decisions on where they want to go and how long they want to spend at each station. So it's a lot less structured, so that a family can really participate. They've got a map, they've got a list of programs and activities to do, and it's the Disney World model, right? You go where you want to go for as long as you want to go. If you want to fish all day long, you can fish all day long. Here's the poles, here's the equipment, go for it, have fun. But as a PAC, that may be a little more difficult to try to say, okay, where are we going? How long are we going to be there? And the programs themselves. So if you go to the craft station, it's going to be a staff member there. Here's the supplies. Here's how you do it. It may not be necessarily the craft starts at 1 o'clock and ends at 2 o'clock. It's not going to necessarily work that way. So just with that in mind, just note that it may not be ideal, but it is certainly still possible. And just with a little bit more coordination and maybe a little bit more work on the adult leaders of that PAC, it is certainly possible to be done.
Excellent. Well, Mr. Long, I want to thank you so much for not only joining us tonight, but your patience in getting started. But then on top of that, the fact that you've stayed now for about 45 minutes, talking about summer camp, the passion there is obviously there. So thank you so much for your time. We greatly appreciate it. Hopefully we'll have you again sometime soon for a roundtable. Everybody else out there, thank you so much for joining us. If you didn't have a chance to check in, please do so. Just leave a quick comment in the comments field. Let us know that you were here so that we can take attendance and note that for Roundtable. Next month, we will be moving Roundtable around again, probably, but we will send out the dates and the information on that once we know them. But more importantly, kind of, take a moment and leave me a comment and let me know what you thought of some of the changes with Roundtable. This is a constantly evolving product. It's something that we're looking to constantly tweak here and there. Did you enjoy having the pledge, the oath, and law for the opening and having a video of scouts doing it? Would you be interested perhaps in having your scouts from your unit be the ones to do it? Film a video that I can use for the opening, something along those lines. Did you enjoy having the program breakout videos in the middle there? Any tweaks that we can make? Ultimately, just let me know your thoughts in the comments. But thank you so much for taking the time to join us on a Tuesday night in November. Enjoy your Veterans Day. To all the veterans who are out there, thank you for your service. For everybody who's active military as well, we appreciate it. We're thankful for you and the sacrifices that you made. On behalf of the entire Pathfinder District and Wabash Valley District committees, thank you for joining us for Roundtable. We look forward to seeing you next month here at Pathfinder District Virtual Roundtable. Have a wonderful evening.
I'm feeling real good cause today is a good day. I got a big surprise and I'm gonna send it your way. I'm gonna send it your way. It's a wonderful time, everybody let's celebrate. Get down. I'm feeling real good cause today is a good day.
Thank you for all your hard work and dedication in supporting the Boy Scouts of America.
Woo! Yeah! Thanks for helping venturers like me. Hi, Mom.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Feeling real good cause today is a good day. I got a big surprise and I'm gonna send it your way. I'm about to send it your way. It's a wonderful time, everybody let's celebrate. I'm feeling real good cause today is a good day. Come on. I'm feeling real good. Yeah, I said I'm feeling right. I'm feeling real good. That's right. I'm feeling real good. Hey, yo, I'm feeling right. I'm feeling real good.
I told you.
I'm feeling real good cause today is a good day.